I was just going to put on my lipstick. So, hi guys, it's Tori Magoo 44, putting on my lipstick. Anyway, how are you? Excuse me, I'm outside. So, hopefully, the planes won't go over and stuff, which is Murphy's Law. But I thought I'll do one outside. That'd be nice. It's really pretty out. It's summertime. It's beautiful here in Los Angeles. I'm going to put on some lip gloss. There you go. So my lips are all moist. And that's it. I think we're ready to go. So let's see if any. Hey, there's someone. Now let me see if I can see you. Hi, John. Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. Thank you for coming by. So this is kind of fun, huh? I'm outside, and here's some more people. Hey, hi. The journey. Cool. Hey, Dee. I know it's wonderful to see you too. I figured I'll do it early and surprise some people. Somebody cortex. Can see that. I can't see the first part. It looks like NIO, Neil cortex. Anyway, hi. I like all your little things. That's really cute. I'm an emoticon freak. I am. I admit it. What can I say? Anyway, see how pretty it is out here? I'll show you. Look and see. See? Oh, look, there's the birdies. They just flew over. Summertime's very nice here until it gets really hot. But right now, it's really pretty. And this is good. Like last night, we were out, but we were out. Oh, yeah, this is Saturday. That's right. It isn't Sunday. It's Saturday. Well, what the heck? I'll do it tonight instead of Sunday night. All right, now let me see. The journey. Okay, question. Do you know what is the youngest age they let a kid do the Purif? It's a good question. In 2010, a 9-year-old completed it. Ugh. I I'm not a big Purif fan, so I don't, but I would be very much against putting children on a Purif. And the purification rundown for anyone that doesn't know is a thing. Hi, everybody. Is a thing that you're in for 5 hours in a sauna. So for a 9-year-old child to be in a sauna for 9 hours or 5 hours, no, not a good idea. I mean, it's supposed to get toxins out of your body. How many toxins do you have at 9 years old? Come on. Thank you. Thank you, Style Audit. Good to see you. Oh, fun. And you don't look a day over 40. Oh, well, thank you. I'm 78. Can you believe it? I can't. I really can't. I'm like, wow. It's kind of amazing. Life rolls on. Like I always say, life rolls on. Don't miss it. Here's my hair, my goofy hair. All right. So that's a man. I don't know who a man is. That's a man, you all. Um, 5 hours in the sauna is dangerous. I know it is. I nearly died in it. It was really, really bad. Really bad. And another one of my friends went blind in it. She had, excuse me, I think it was diabetes, and they shouldn't have done that. They don't have doctors. You know what I mean? They did. They had Dr. Dank, but they don't really have medical people at a Pura. And so people are on there that shouldn't be on there. And that's what happened to my friend who went blind. And she's still in. I was protesting and I saw her and I said, "Hey, it's Tori." And she kind of nodded. It's kind of weird. She's the only person that ever said hello to me. And guess who was the other person? Danny Masterson. Because I knew him when he was a young, I taught him when he was in 6th grade. So I knew him. So anyway, he was in a bus and he went, "Hey, Tori." And I went, "Wow, that's a first." I mean, Scientologists say nothing to me at all. Okay, I don't know who you're saying is a man. Who are you saying is a man? Somebody's saying that's a man, but I don't know who that is. Let's see. Can't read that. That's in Spanish. That's Michael Jackson's Aunt Annie's. Okay, are these a bunch of goofballs that normally aren't here? This message is held for review. Okay, who held it? I don't know. Well, anyway, do you have any questions? I'm going to do my Sunday night thing tonight because it's Saturday night. I thought it was Sunday, but it's Saturday. I just remembered. Hard to keep track of. All right. I'm going to, oh, here we go. Thank you for noticing. All right. Did Danny Masterson acknowledge your presence at his trial? No, not at all. No, I don't think he could. The Scientology was there and everything. He was on a bus, it was a different thing. Hi, Tori from Tennessee. It was way before he got into all this weird shit. He was still a younger guy. Hi, Danny. We have to get together, Danny. We do. I was hoping you'd come out last night because Drew and I were out. And I said, if anybody's near, come on out. But nobody did. You do your thing. Okay. I hope someone. Oh, I have questions, but I learn more listening. Oh, I ask a question. Ah, jeez. Only when I'm on camera. Goofy. That was the other thing. I thought maybe last night I'd run into Jessica or Will, but I didn't. We should. Hello, Tori, and love from Culver City. Hi, Eric. I know that's you. And tell your parents I said hi too. I'm really proud of them. They did a great job with you. Don't listen to the haters. You're beautiful. I didn't even hear them. It didn't come in, but thank you. Danny, take Tori out to eat. There you go. Yeah, we can get together for something. Do you think that Scientology organization is declining? Of course. I mean, go look in the buildings. All you have to do is look in the buildings. People here, public, sometimes, although if you listened last night, if you watched me, I'd say, don't get into Scientology. And they'd turn around and go, never. I mean, it's really different than it used to be. There's a plane up there somewhere. Can you hear it? One eye heathen. Question. How does Scientology view disability? Awful. I told you I have epilepsy, and they always treated me like I was, in Hubbard's words, a degraded being until it's fixed. Which, oh yeah, I'm going to fix that. Hmm. Thank God for my mom. Hi, Dawn Lambert. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. I am who you say I am. Oh, hey. Hi. I love that nickname. I like a lot of your nicknames. Some of them I can't quite see because I'm outside. Somebody, I think it's Pagan Wagon. I've never interacted with. I missed what you said. Question: what do you think Scientology could do to get more members? I'm not going to tell you. I know. I've already told them. I've laid out the whole plan. They won't do it. They won't listen. I've never interacted with anyone. Okay. All right. Um, Sl- Sloppy K says hi. Just watch your speech on Going Clear conference posted from years ago. Wow. Cool. Yeah, that was a cool conference up in Toronto, the one with that John Atek hosted and the professor. Ooh, that's awful. Okay. I think you are a powerful voice and wonder if you will roar like a lion to the honorable court. I think they would listen to you. Where? What, as far as what? Which court? Where, Cece? What are you referring to? Can you read my comments above? Let's see. Mini Forest Spirit. I don't think so. Mini Forest Spirit. I saw that one. Well, hi, 49ers for Life. So you were asking, what do you think Scientology could do to get more members? It would be very, very simple. I'll tell you what it is in a nutshell. Number one, stop saying they're a religion because they're not. They're not really. They're a fraudulent business pretending to be a religion. Number two, stop doing all the abusive stuff they do, all the fair game, lying about people, breaking up families, declaring people suppressive, all that shit. It's all bad news and it's all stopping their church or group from expanding. And number three, lower all the prices. And number four is get rid of the OT levels, all the upper bridge. Scientology is like a triangle. And I say do the lower bridge on down, and they would probably be one of the biggest self improvement groups in the world if they stopped saying they were a religion, because they're not. And if they lowered the prices, if they definitely stopped all the fair game and abuse, stop breaking up families, stop declaring people suppressive, just did common sense things. And if you think about it, it's just stupid stuff that nobody likes. And that's why we're all out, because one way or another, one of those things ticked us off and we went, enough, not doing it. So to me, if they did those things, they'd get tons more people and put back in the missions, because the missions were what created Scientology. They were little groups of people that my husband's parents got in 1950, and they would invite people over, come on over, we're going to have coffee and cookies, and we're going to talk about Dianetics. And people would come over and, they would just do little stuff at their house. That was the original missions. That's what they were. And then they built into missions, but even still, it was kind of a cozier, friendlier place. And then when they really turned into Scientologists, they would send them over to the orgs, which weren't called churches, they were called orgs for organization. So that's what I think. But they won't do it. I've told them that for years. I told Ms. Scavage that when I first left. I said, if you just did a lot of the simple things, hey, Sophie, hi. If you just did a lot of the simple things that helped in the beginning, they weren't doing all this shit. Not really. Not in the beginning. They weren't. But if they got rid of the OT levels, none of them would have OT powers. They don't anyway. That's the point. That is the point. They don't have OT powers. There aren't any. They can say they do and they can think they do, but they know they don't. And I know they don't. So it's like, okay, get rid of it because it doesn't really work. They don't have OT powers. And, go about your life and help people with little life improvement things that help their lives get better. That's what they should do. They won't because it doesn't make money. The money because they're greedy. So they get what they want. JB808. Hi, Tori. Just a quick visit to say hello. Hey, Dave Gibbons in Australia, my old friend. Hi, good to see you. I hope you're, let's see, for you in Australia, I think, what is it, tomorrow morning for you now? I can never keep track of it. My brother's in Thailand and I can never keep track of what time it is. Thank you for your hearts and things. Thanks for saying hi. I'm glad you guys came by. I know this is early for me, huh? 49ers, no one has a power yeah, regardless. Yeah. I mean, it's Sophie saying hi to everybody. They would get rid of the church tax exemption. Yeah. All the things that are bad. I mean, you can just think what's bad. Boom, 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 boom. They got rid of those. People would start going, well, what is Scientology? Right? And they'd have to be able to tell them what is Scientology. Everyone I've talked to goes, I really don't know what Scientology is. And I go, and that is by design. And they go, really? And I go, hell yeah. Because then you have to go in and talk to them. And then they can get the money. All planned out. That's why everybody's like, gee, I don't really know. If I had $1 for every person who said, I don't really know what Scientology is, and if I got $2 if they said, I really don't know, or $10, I could have retired years ago. Okay, now let's see what you say. Hey, Dawn. So Sophie's saying hi. You have OT powers. Dawn saying that, but not from Scientology because I knew you'd be here. Yeah, I have OT powers too, but they're not from Scientology. And actually, Laura Sullivan acknowledged that for me. They weren't OT powers, but it was abilities. She was the head PR for L. Ron Hubbard on his ship. And so now I was out, and I was at Nancy Maney's house, and Laurel Sullivan was there. And, they'd always been sending me out to handle these SPs that were out there. And I'd go out and talk to them, and a lot of times they'd leave. And I'd go in, and Scientology would be like, Osa would be like, what did you do? What happened? They packed up and left. And I said, I just talked to them. They're just people. They're people with a different viewpoint than you have. That's all. So, but they could never learn that lesson ever. It's so simple. So anyway, I asked Laurel, I said, I watch OSA. I've watched them for years and they go out, what are your crimes? What are your overs? Who did you murder? All that stuff, which is Hubbard's thing, the murder technique, right? And I go, but I go out and I get a lot of people to leave. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And I said, I don't get it. And she sits back and she goes like this. You were never trained in the LRH PR check, were you? And I said, no, I wasn't. And she goes, that's why you were successful. And I realized I was successful from my parents. It was the first time I realized it wasn't Scientology, which all through Scientology, most people in any abilities you have, you think it's because of Scientology. It's because of L. Ron Hubbard or whatever. But it isn't. It's, most of us got our abilities from our parents when we were young. Not everybody. I can't speak for everybody, but certainly for me, I can. And she was right. It was like, no, I didn't do the PR tech. And I remembered my dad was a broadcaster on TV and just kind of a natural PR. And my mom was too. She helped the community all the time. And they both were just kind of natural PRs. And I thought, really, the skills that I have of communicating and even making these videos. My mom used to videotape the kids all the time. I mean, and this was in the 50s, when they had the old, wind up camera and stuff. And thank you, Cece. And my mom would be out there filming us climbing trees and stuff like that. And and at first we'd be like, don't film me, don't film me. And she'd say, look, get over it. It's not about you. This is our family videos. I'm gonna take them and we're gonna watch them on Sunday night. So just get used to it. And so you did. After a while, it was like, okay, whatever. We all look like a bunch of knuckleheads. So what? So does everybody else. So, but it did give me a very comforting thing, of just being around a camera from my mom filming us all the time, wherever we were. Dave Gibbons, good day. Yeah, truly, you two are so cute together. You should go meet each other. You really should. I think, Sophie, you should go visit them in Australia, and I'll come with you. Ooh, it's 2:09 on Sunday. Okay, so it's 2:09. That must be the same for Dave, right? Yep. It's like a secret society or a big club, and we ain't in it. Isn't that fun though about Laurel Sullivan? And this was the other every single port in the world that we pulled into. Now, some other ex-CR guys have a different story on that, but that's what she told me, and she was his PR. So anyway, it was kind of interesting to hear. It was like, wow. So she was very, very, very positive about me helping. Okay, Dave, spiritual enlightenment can happen in Scientology. It happens sometimes despite Scientology. Yeah, I know Dave had big wins on OT7. He did. And I always say that, some people do, but not a lot. There really weren't a lot. You got to admit that. 49ers for life. Question. Do Scientologists think you still have OT powers? I think they do. I do. What do you think, Dave? When you leave, how do they think you lose the powers? I don't think they do. Like, OT powers isn't something that, I mean, you and I could say, well, make that car back up or something like that, but they would go, well, that's not that's not what I do. You know what I mean? That's not my OT power. So it's a personal thing. Okay, now somebody asked, let's see, I can't see who it is. Oh, it's 49ers for life. Question. Do Scientologists think you still have OT powers? Oh, that was your question. Okay, okay. I kind of don't think so, but I can't really speak for everybody. I'm just going to speak for myself. And no, but I didn't have any when I was in. I did have them, but they weren't from Scientology. And they weren't, I wouldn't call them OT powers, but I had abilities that were different than a lot of people's. And my friend and I both had them. And now I've read about it on from different things. And it's very interesting because we would have stuff happen and we would call each other up. We'd go, it happened again. A lot of times we would get fired from jobs. It was really weird because we would see what was going to happen. Like one guy, I knew these guys were going to rip him off for all of his everything. And I told him, I said, Steve, I know you really trust these guys, but I'm telling you, they're going to fleece you like you can't believe. And they never told me that. I just picked it up. And he said, you know what? I think you're way, way, way too high to work in an office. That's what he said to me. And I said, okay, whatever. It was like, but then a couple months later, they fleeced him. They took everything. I'll never forget it. And they ended up fleecing me too. They were really, because I ended up working for them later down the line. And they turned on me, all of them, all the top management Scientology OT8s, all of them turned on me. All of them turned on the TAC because we wrote it out in writing. We wrote a KR to every single person about how this guy that ran survival strategies and body balance for performance. And if you're a physical therapist, do not get snagged up with those guys because they're phony and they're liars and they will take you for everything you have and your family. They're bad news. But they tried to really hurt me. And it was a big part of my waking up because it was like, you guys are the top managers on the planet. And I'm writing up exactly per policy what L. Ron Hubbard said to do. You violated it, all of you, and you don't give a shit. And we were just shocked. I mean, they blocked me out of going into the building. It was like they were shoulder to shoulder. Nope, can't go in. You have to go upstairs and talk to Doug Owen. Doug Owen is the guy who said, not Doug Owen, the artist and photographer. No, this is another Doug Owen. And he said, okay, Doug Owen. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I've got my cough drop in my mouth. He said, they all said, we're not going to talk to you. Nope, you have to go upstairs and talk to him. And he said he was Kakan. You know, you couldn't touch him. He could do anything. And we'd already had some communications and it wasn't good. And so now I go upstairs and there's a table and a chair and a tape recorder. And he's got the tape recorder on and he starts screaming, what are your words? What are your crimes? And I said, you know what? Fuck you. Not going to do it. No, I'm out. And I went downstairs and I went in to see the owners and they said, you're in a lower condition. And the guy was really big. He was like 6'5" or something. And I looked up at him. I said, you know what? I'm done with this. I am so done with this. No, I am not in a lower condition. You are in a lower condition. And I walked out. That was it. They're all still in, all of them. Weddy Fair, Barbara, what's her name? Bruce and Barb Wiseman. Barb Wiseman, she was the first person who turned on me. It was really ratty. Kathy Yachty was there, but she died. It was bad. But it was good for me because it helped me wake up and realize these aren't my friends. When Andrea said, what kind of friends could those be if they're going to leave you because you change your mind? I thought of those people. I really did. I thought, they're not my friends. They're not anywhere near a friend. Okay, now I got to read some of this stuff. I missed a whole bunch of stuff I was telling you. Hey, Laura FM, hi. I saw that you were served. I saw I watched the whole video. That is so weird. And the other thing is this, I understood you have to go, are you Laura Anderson? You've been served. You can't throw it down on the table. Now, my friend said you can, but he's not an attorney. He just said he thinks you can. But I don't think you've been served, really. Salvation is a gift, not for sale. Good. Believe in Mr. and receive forgiveness and eternal life. Oh, this is a thing from Jesus. Oh, cool. All right, cool. Oh, wait a second. I missed Laura's thing. I got to go back up here. Okay, happy Saturday. Thank you. Happy Saturday for you. Okay, while you do some art. Cool. I was hoping you'd come out last night. Drew and I were out there. Yeah, I know you're nearby, but you guys didn't. Nobody came. It's okay. We got to plan something though where we do kind of a group thing. I think it's more fun. Hey, Tori. I'm usually lurking but listening. I'm wondering if OT powers are like spiritual gifts that Christians relate to. I asked Dave because I'm not the person to tell you about OT powers. I never really felt like I had OT powers. The powers that I had when I came in Scientology. I already had them. And they never got any bigger or any better. I kind of thought they did, and I kind of pretended they did, but they didn't really. So I don't know, and I don't really know Christian things. Dave, how long were you in Scientology? Dave has got get a lot of people out of Scientology, just so you know. Um, and he went all the way up to OT8, I think, Dave, right? Your live is so clear. What type of camera are you using? Um, well, you'll have to send me a little private message and I'll tell you. I don't tell it on here because I know Osa's watching. Um, Not backwoods bound. What is this about? I'm new. It's about, I was in Scientology for 30 years, and a bunch of people also that are interested in this were either in Scientology or have followed it, finding out how many abuses they do. They stop free speech, break up families, medical abuse. They rope in young kids for billion-year contracts, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of people that were never even in Scientology are critics of Scientology. And Scientology, being as stupid as they are, should have just let them alone. And I think a lot of them would have come and gone, but they pick on them too. And then people go, hey, no, don't do that. My absolute abilities come from life experience of pain, something that is from organic life pain. Okay, CC. Well, there you go. I was studying Buddhism before I got in Scientology. You are a fate and spiritual being trapped in a physical body. Pay money to clear yourself of trauma, which are called engrams, through auditing, which is their counseling. Salvation is a product only if you can afford it. No, that's not true because I co-audited all my lower bridge. So you don't have to pay for all of it. You don't have to. A lot of people do, but I didn't. Okay, and here's the Jesus quote. Okay, you're a sinner in need of grace. I don't get into that. I left the Catholic Church because of priests that said stuff like that. I don't like that. To me, God and Jesus would not tell me I was a sinner. It doesn't ring for me. It's not good for me. It may be true for everybody else in the world, but it's not for me. And I left the Catholic Church because of that. I said, no, anybody that's a God that's in my world is not going to talk to me like that. Because he used to say everything, Jesus Christ died for your sins. And I was like, no, no, not me. So there you go. I know you were served. I saw that because I'm an SP. So you're going to be a witness. That's what it is, though, right? You're just going to be a witness. That's good. I don't get why they served you, though. Mike Ellis is his name. Oh yeah, Mike Ellis. Isn't he the IJC who won't talk to me? You're going to appreciate this, Laura, if I haven't told it already, but it's really funny. You know how in Scientology people write up what are called KRs, knowledge reports, on each other, on anything, anything that's out tech, they write up a KR on it. So I go in to see Mike Ellis because Grace Aaron was writing up these KRs on me all the time. And I was like, this one, I've never even met this one. She's never been to my house. She doesn't know what I'm doing with my son. It's like, no, I'm not going to even answer the KR. And I said, what do you do with these KRs anyway? And I was on OT7 at the time, so I'd been in for a long time. And he goes, see that door? And I go, yeah. And he goes, open it up. And I open it up. And I swear to God, it wasn't in piles. It was from floor to ceiling papers, just thrown madly all over the place. Like somebody just pitched them in there. That's where your ethics files are. It's me, Tori, the beautiful and fabulous Nicole. Well, good to see you. Thank you, Nicole. I am who I am. Amen, JP. What did JP say that you're amening? Okay. JP said the thing about Jesus. You are a sinner in need of grace. I don't think that's true. Believe in me and receive forgiveness and eternal life for free. Salvation is a gift, not for sale. That I think is true. I mean, I do think there's some good things that are in there, and that's true. I do think that's true. I just don't like the thing about the sinner thing. I mean, I was a sinner. Don't get me wrong. I sinned a whole bunch, but I don't think I was going to go to hell because I did these, it was when I was a teenager. I did a lot of creepy stuff, but luckily I wrote my dad before he died. He died at 51. And I wrote him a whole letter saying, I am so sorry for being such an idiot as a teenager. And I love you. And, you've just been the greatest dad. And I just got to tell him everything. And all my life, I run into people because he was a celebrity. So I run into people that go, I wish I could have thanked your dad. Or I used to watch him on TV. Or he taught me baseball. Or, people have a million stories about my dad. It's kind of amazing. Okay, is me Tori the beautiful and fabulous? Oh, it is me. Okay, good. Okay, I got it. Okay, so Scientology secret teachings revealed only after thousands of dollars and loyalty. Okay, OT powers, Dave Gibbons says, are what people usually think of as spiritual abilities, telepathy, um, projecting intention, postulating things into the future. Yeah. I'll tell you a fun story about that. Do you remember Peter Gillum? He was married to Yvonne Gillum, who started Celebrity Center. And he used to do these lectures on stuff like that, on intention and counterintention. Intention is intending something to happen. Counterintention is someone blocking it. And so he would give a lecture about intention and counterintention. And then he would have us drill it. And he'd say, okay, everybody go to the back of the room. And we did. I think I was 22 at the time. We go to the back of the room. And he goes, all right, I want you to pick a chair, put the intention there that you're sitting in it. And then when I say start, everybody go sit down. And I'm from a real competitive family, but I want to win. So I pick kind of a flaky chair. It's like 4 rows up from me or something. He goes, okay, start. I go and I sit down and I go, good, I made it. And he goes, okay, we're going to do it again. So pick a chair, put your intention there. And when I say start, you're going to start. So I think, okay, I got to do something a little more difficult. So I go to about the middle of the room. And he goes, start. I race up there and sit down. Okay, good, I did it. He goes, all right, we're going to do it a third time. Everybody in the back of the room. And I go to the back and I think, Tori, you're really being a flake. Come on. Pick a difficult chair and really, work on your intention. So I thought, all right, first row, first chair, I'm going to get it. And I put my intention there and he goes, start. And I go tearing up there. And this girl, I swear to God, she's just sitting down like this. She's sitting down and I go, whoosh, and I sit down underneath her. And she goes, that's my chair. And I go, what's your counterintention? And she goes, I can't believe it. I was just sitting down thinking, I can't believe I got this chair. That was her counterintention. And we both, it was just a great, I used to love his seminars. They were really great. Some of the old seminars were really, really cool. They really were. Hi, Karen. One eye heathen. Need to go, but thank you for the stream. You are welcome, and thank you for coming by. Come by again. Good for you. I know. Good night, everybody. Good night. Okay, JP says Scientology is highly centralized, hierarchical, I don't even know how to say that. It has hierarchy in it. And litigious, true. Critics often silenced accusations of abuse, control, and family separation, as well as ripping people off for a lot of money. Okay, here's another Jesus one. I'm going to keep religion out of this. I don't mean to be offensive, but The vast majority of Scientologists know nothing about the whole Xenu origin. That's very true. They don't. It's amazing. The Xenu thing is, like I said, it's like a triangle, and the Xenu thing is way up at the top. It's like the top triangle guys know about it. But all the rest of the people in Scientology, which isn't that many now anymore, but Sea Org, they don't know anything about it. They're barely clear. They might be clear, but that's it. Now, Miscavige promises them all the OT levels if you join the Sea Org. No, they never deliver it. Yes, but I was just letting you know that the new or current Justice Chief's name is Mike Ellis, International Justice Chief. Oh, good. Yeah, I thought that was his name, but thank you for letting me know. And you're going to go be a witness, right? I mean, I don't get why they had to serve you for that. Can't they just ask you to go? Hello from the Lewis and Clark Bridge. Oh, I see. They're going to try to do screw up some stuff on the other side and twist your story around or something like that. That's my guess. On the Washington state side, one thing to remember is when you're in court, because I've been in court with them and about 10 attorneys. And man, I didn't take shit from them at all. They wanted to bring my husband in, and I said no. And I looked at the judge. I said, I am not happy with this. If you want to bring my husband into this courtroom over an injunction in Clearwater, Florida, which he's still a member, no. If you want to bring him in, we get to depose every single OT8. That's the deal. You want to do that? We'll do it. And I knew they wouldn't. And sure enough, the judge goes, could all the attorneys come up here, please? And he looks down and he goes, I think this is a very personal issue for her. So why don't we just leave her husband out of it? I was like, I didn't want him getting sucked into all that. Are there any concepts or ideas within Scientology you think are similar to? Oh, definitely. Hubbard stole most of this stuff. One of my friends and his partner spent 10 years tracing every single piece of tech, and everything had an earlier beginning, an earlier author, an earlier philosophy, another religion. He took things from everywhere, and then he'd wrap it up, put a big bow on it, and say, L. Ron Hubbard. That's the truth. So absolutely. That's why people stay, because they go, well, there's a lot of good stuff in here. And it's like, yeah, there is. But you can get it for free outside of Scientology. In Scientology, it costs, hi, Bertie. It costs thousands of dollars. Hello. Hello. I really like my birds. Okay. They had to serve him because they want to pretend they're important and have the authority similar to the court. It is not true that they have the authority, only the court. That's what I thought. Thank you, YRB. That's what I thought. It was like, they can't serve someone like that. And they didn't do it properly anyway. Okay, Sheppy, I think. How did LRH get so many people and tons of money all over the world to open and run orgs? A little bit at a time. He started, like I said, my mother and father-in-law got in 1950, and he started doing lectures and, on these basic things. Then he started missions, which was just little groups of people having people over, and on and on and on. It built up. It's like anything. We are super genius. Okay, hi, Tori. Thank you. Wow, they really are trying to bomb the chat tonight. Epic fail. Selfies here. I know, and all my friends. Because mind control and hypnosis works. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. It does. I was just telling someone today, and they haven't, but if you haven't, Google the Milgram experiments and the Stanford experiment. They're both fabulous. They really show how quickly mind control can happen. It's really cool. They're really they after those they can't do them anymore because one was on electric shock, pretending they were shocking this guy. It's pretty. I shouldn't laugh at it, but it's so amazing how freaky it is. How someone will just do if somebody gives you an order, you just do it. Not everybody, but this guy did, and it was pretty weird. Okay, let me see. It's difficult to call him charismatic, but he was the type of person that could draw people in. People wanted to be in his clothes network. Yeah, my mother-in-law had great stories about him. And I was working at Bridge at the time, and they when it's the Dianetic birthday, they have a big event downtown at the Shrine, or they used to. But now they had an in-between during the week event at Bridge for the mayor and, kind of opinion leader kind of people from the community. And so I said, why don't you have Flo talk? She's been in it since 1950. She has great Hubbard stories. And they said, okay. So they had Flo come and she talked. And she's just very much like he was such a rascal. That was always her quote. He was such a rascal. And she just, it was different than how these people at Bridge thought of him. They were all like, L. Ron Hubbard. And after she left, people came up to me and said, you know what, your mother's talk changed my life forever. It was really cool. They really he's not some big god, he was just a guy. It doesn't work on higher IQ individuals. That's not true. That's not at all what the academics who study cults say at all. They say that the majority of people in cults have higher IQs. That's why they got in cults, because they wanted to do something more, something better. That's what they told me. And they said, we've studied thousands of people, and almost all of them are very, very smart. And but they said it's a common misunderstanding that they don't have high IQs, they're stupid, that's why they joined the cult. No, not true at all. Okay. It's difficult to, okay, yeah, that we got that. So B also, oh yeah, that's it. The ash conformity. Thank you. I've been trying to remember the name of that, and I don't know who to ask. Thank you. That's another really good one. That one shows it in minutes, how fast it is. It's really cool. Thank you for reminding me. I got to write that down, Sophie, because that is exactly, I mean, the three of those experiments are terrific. The ash conformity. That's the one with the lines, right? Ash conformity. Oh God. And then there's the Milgram and wasn't Berkeley. What was it? What's the one up in San Francisco? I just said it a little while ago. Now I got Berkeley on my head, so I can't think of it. Anyway, it's the university up there. Um, Interesting. Okay, Dave says, I once asked a real old timer if he ever had seen Hubbard do something nice. Oh, the Stanford experiment. That's it. I remembered it. And he asked, I saw him hold an umbrella for Mary Sue once. See, that's what I'm saying. The old guys were different. They really were. And he said, but he was probably just fingering her, fingering her to the FBI. I know they were funny. All right, I got to write that down. The Stanford experiment. Yeah, I'm gonna re-look up all of those because they're really cool. They're really worth seeing. It's not exactly what you're saying. It's the opposite. Yeah, you are correct. The higher IQ people will manipulate the lower IQ people. We're saying the same thing. Okay. The Stanford prison experiment. That was it. That's right. They were like half of them were guards and half of them were prisoners. And the guy who created it, Zimbardo, I think was his name. And he's cool to look up also because he has a bunch of videos on YouTube. But Zimbardo said, I thought it was going to take weeks for this thing to take. And within 24 hours, the guards were like Nazis and the prisoners were these total like, oh, don't hit me again. I mean, it was really, he said it really freaked him out. It really did. And there was another one I just thought of. Wait a minute. Let me write down Zimbardo because he's another guy I want to look up. The other one is about the brown eyes and the blue eyes. I don't know what that's named, but Oprah redid it in present, it was like 10 years ago or probably now 20 years ago, but she redid it and the same thing happened where, they walked in and it was like your brown eyes, your low IQ, your blue eyes, your high IQ. You know what I mean? And they had this thing and it was like within a very short time, they were all acting just like it said. So she redid it to see, and the same thing happened. People are suggestible. Oh, good, Sophie. Thank you. Who was my dad? My dad was Tory-Christman, is his name. He played for the Chicago Cardinals, who went on to become the St. Louis Cardinals and then the Phoenix Cardinals, which are now called the Arizona Cardinals. And he was in the Football Hall of Fame. And he also was a broadcaster in the 60s with Kurt Gowdy on NBC, I think, or ABC, one of the two. Thank you, Sophie. Oh, interesting. In order for trauma-based mind control to work, the subject has to have a high IQ. Wow, that I didn't know. That's interesting. All these tests have been redone over the decades, and it's always the same results. I know, but didn't they cancel them? I thought Zimbardo said they canceled them where they can't do them anymore because they were on people. That's what they tell you, LOL. But you can do it yourself with me, with no help, with high IQ. Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm not saying you have to have high IQ. They were just saying it was a common misunderstanding, and it is. People say it all the time. Lori needs a theme song for her live. Yeah, stream. Maybe Mark Bunker would help. I know, I really do, Eric. I need a theme song and I need a beginning thing. You know how people have a beginning and an end and stuff like that? I don't have any of that. I really do. I need to do that. So that's another thing I'll write down. Beginning and end. I don't know if you can have music though. I mean, we'd have to have somebody who had their own music. Maybe Jeff Levin. Maybe he'd do one for me. Look how quickly the law enforcement and jails can become abusive in this country. An interesting thing happened. This was a Scientology thing, but it was interesting. A guy named Eric Sherman, who's really in the movie industry, but he and a friend just got really ticked off at how the prison system works and stuff like that. So they designed and they had built a prison out out in, wide open, right? It was open, like, and the prisoners grew their own cotton. They made their own uniforms. It was just really kind of amazing. They were very productive and very healthy because of it. And the government wouldn't have a thing to do with it. No, 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 no. No, we're not doing that. It was shocking. It really was. Most people I met in Scientology were pretty bright. Me too. That was one of the attraction was that, I really liked all the people. New here, but have watched you since years back. Oh, good. Hi, Navi. Thank you for speaking out on this despicable cult. You're welcome. It's my pleasure. It really is. Every time that was what got me speaking out. I wasn't going to, but then I thought, if I could help one person, it'd be worth it. If I could help one, especially a young person, not get suckered into it, it'd be worth all the fair game they could throw my way. And it has been. It really has. And they have thrown a lot of fair game my way. They have. Thank you, Dave. And thank you, Sophie. All right, you kids. Well, I'm going to take off because it's getting very chilly outside. Like Drew last night, it's like the sun goes down here and it goes from being really warm and pleasant to cheery, or chilly. Everyone thinks cult members are dumb, but it's actually the opposite. I know. What you think of today's girls as a woman from the ladies' era? Oh, that's a question. What do you think of today's girls as women from the ladies' era? I don't know. I was just as much of a knucklehead when I was their age. I was crazy. So I'm not a good person to judge other people. It's like I think people go through what they have to go through. I think, unfortunately, our school system is awful in America. And that is what's affecting the young kids more than anything, and the internet, and everybody being glued to their phones and stuff. One of my friends, we used to get together with this young girl, and they were always on their phones all the time. And so we started talking about how, you guys don't even communicate anymore. You're just on your phones all the time. So she put in with her friends, they go out to dinner. They all have to put their phones in a pile. Let's say there's 4 people. They all put their phones in a pile. And whoever picks up your phone first, they have to pay the bill. How about that's very clever? Because at least they'd get through a dinner, you know what I mean, without being on their phones. Dave, you're smart and informed. He really is. You guys would love each other. You really would. Dave is wonderful. Being told you're smart, keep up the good work, slave, is not a true read on intelligence. Echo chamber intelligence, especially. Like Tori said, she had her special talent before joining. I did. Atta girl, hello from Southern California. Hi, Victor. Have a good evening. You too, Dave, and thanks for coming by, all of you. Been an hour and the sun's going down, so I'm going to go also. So I love you guys. Thank you for coming by. I think this will probably be my Sunday night video for anybody that plugs in. I might do one tomorrow night, but I kind of don't think so, because then that'll be 3 nights in a row. Anyway, you guys take care, and thank you for coming by. And I'm glad you enjoyed it. You are welcome, Dave. I love you too. I really do. I'm so happy to have you as my friend. All of you. It really makes a big difference. Sophie, thank you for being my moderator. Excuse me. And thank all the rest of you. Anyway, I better get in before it gets too cold. So good night to all of you. And if you're late and you watch this, please leave some comments. I read all of them. I do. All right. You take care. I got to remember how to turn this off. Okay. Sure, you want to stop? Yeah.